It's finally time to talk about the Houston Astros. Do my 2020 preview on this team, a team that's really good, a team that everybody really likes right now, and that there's absolutely no reason to not root for in 2020.
Baby. Enjoy this great game.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel, and today it's time for the Houston Astros 2020 preview. And this is a team I actually have always liked, the Houston Astros, going way back to 1986 when they had Mike Scott and they had all these great players like Nolan Ryan and Kevin Bass, and it was just an amazing team. And then into the 90s and 2000s with guys like Jeff Bagwell, who used to just tear it up at Candlestick Park. Obviously that wasn't good because I was a Giants fan, but he played unbelievable baseball over at Candlestick. And then you had Craig Biggio. You had all these great players with the Astros throughout the 90s, 2000s. And I liked the Astros. I didn't love the Astros, but, they were in the National League. Got to watch them a lot. I loved the Astrodome. I was like obsessed with the Astrodome. And no problems with the Astros. And then even more recently, all these great players coming through the minor leagues. A lot of them played in Fresno because they were Fresno Grizzlies was the affiliate for a couple years there. Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman was there, Jonathan Villar, and it was just a lot of fun watching these guys develop, and the Astros going from this terrible team in 2012 to this world champion in 2017. Until so it's impossible really to do an Astros preview right now without at least mentioning they got in trouble. They got caught for cheating and using cameras out in the outfield and center field with a monitor, zooming into the catcher, getting the signs, and obviously it helped them to win a World Series in 2017. It pissed off a large majority of the fan base and a lot of players. But all that said, I still think most of those players in that lineup are really, really good. They weren't just good because of that, and they're going to continue to be good, and it's a very formidable lineup. The thing I'm more worried about is the rotation, which we'll get to in a minute. A little bit more worried about the bullpen, but the bullpen might be okay. But that offense is really going to carry this team. So it's time to take a look at this team and try to do it in an unbiased way. Look at the lineup, look at the rotation, look at that roster, and decide how good this team is. And it really starts at the top. We have a new manager here, and it's Dusty Baker, former San Francisco Giants coach, manager, player. Got a huge soft spot for Dusty. He is awesome, and I think he's going to do great things over there with the Astros. Let's look at their lineup now. Just one potential lineup. The order could be different, but you got George Springer, three-time All-Star, coming off a year where he hit 39 bombs. He gets on base. He is a huge asset at the top of the order. Then you got Altuve, six-time All-Star. He was the MVP in 2017, whether you think he deserved it or not. .315 career batting average. He's got a great story, and I think that most of what he's done in his career is legit. I think he's going to continue to rake. That's what he does. And then four-time All-Star Michael Brantley, 22 bombs, .311 average last year. Spent a lot of time, of course, with the Cleveland Indians. Had a 4.8 wins above replacement last year for the Astros. And then in the cleanup spot, Alex Bregman, .423 on base. He can work the walk. He'll drive in runs. He had 112 of them. And, of course, he brings you that ridiculous power and an absolutely insane 1-2-3-4 combo to start the lineup. Yordan Alvarez, .313 average last year, 27 bombs in just 313 at-bats, which is an incredible home run to at-bat ratio. And he was a rookie, so who knows what he'll do this year. And he also won Rookie of the Year, by the way. Alvarez has not yet reported to camp for some reason, and that applies to some other players I'm going to talk about, so I'm just going to let you know it is possible that these are players who have tested positive for COVID-19, but we do not know that. I have no idea exactly why. But that is just one thing to keep in mind when I let you know that the certain players have not reported to camp yet. Then it's Yuli Gurriel. He hit 31 homers and had over 100 RBI himself. You got that. And finally, Carlos Correa. When you got a guy like Carlos Correa hitting seventh, you probably got a pretty good starting lineup, and there's just no way around that. He also won a Rookie of the Year back in the day. He hit 21 homers last year in just 75 games. He had some injury issues. Josh Reddick is next. Great defense, reliable player, got some pop, about a .320 on base. And then finally, Martin Maldonado behind the dish. He is not a very good hitter, .219 career average, but he's there for his defense and to work with the pitcher. So you got pretty much one weak spot out of 9. So pretty damn formidable lineup, like I said. Also, to back up Maldonado, they got a player named Dustin Garneau. He is not the best hitter either, but if they really want to upgrade at catcher offensively, they got this guy, Garrett Stubbs, who was hitting .455 in spring training before the shutdown with a couple homers, 17 RBI. It's a small sample, but he was forcing his way into that lineup, so keep an eye on him. And also Taylor Jones is a first baseman who hit 22 bombs at AAA Round Rock last year, .291 average. He's on the 60-man pool, and he will probably make his debut this year. So a couple of prospects there to keep an eye on. But what about their pitching? I think that's going to be a question mark this year. Their pitching is not as good as it was in 2017 and 2018. They just don't have that kind of firepower, and the firepower they do have is getting a little older, and you never know when guys start getting 36, 37, 38. You just don't know. Of course, they lost one of the best pitchers in the game, if not the best, with Garrett Cole. They lost Will Harris to the Nationals, a really good relief pitcher. They do have Justin Verlander, but he was injured in March with a lat strain, and then he had groin surgery, so I'm assuming he's going to be out for a while. Lance McCullers Jr. had Tommy John missed the entire season last year, so we don't know how he's going to be looking. So lots of question marks. They do still have Zach Greinke, who's going to be 37. Looked pretty sharp last year for the most part. He did struggle in the playoffs, but I think he's going to have a strong season. So you got him. McCullers, I mentioned, he's got some great off-speed stuff. Even if that fastball is not what it used to be, I think he'll be at least okay. And then Jose Urquidy, who the Astros are still waiting on to report. He hadn't even reported to camp yet. Flashes of brilliance last year, and in his first full big league season, I think we're going to see some impressive stuff. But you got to think about the rest of the rotation. I mean, that's only 2 or 3 guys who are going to be, definitely solid and definitely not hurt, hopefully. And then you got to think, who else? Well, they have options like Josh James, Framber Valdez, Brad Peacock, Austin Pruitt, but none of these guys are really 100% reliable. Josh James hasn't even reported to camp, and he wasn't a lock for the rotation anyway. Then Framber Valdez can strike out a bunch of guys, but he's a little wild, a little unpredictable. He walked 44 guys in 70 innings last year. Austin Pruitt, nothing special, 4.87 ERA with the Rays during his career, negative WAR. Then Brad Peacock, and he's only 32. I thought he was older than that because he feels like he's been around forever, but he might be that best option for the rotation down a 4th or 5th spot. Coming off a year where he made 15 starts, 4.12 ERA, 9.4 strikeouts per 9. Obviously, he's a veteran. He knows how to pitch. Problem with him, he's always hurt too. He's on the IL, I think, right now. So he got hurt a bunch last year. Can't stay healthy. That's an issue. So the rotation, it's a little questionable. I think the best thing you can hope for, if they had everyone healthy, you would have a decent rotation. You would have guys like Verlander, Greinke, McCullers, Urquidy, and maybe Brad Peacock. But with all the injuries and surgeries, it's just not going to be that simple. So there's going to be some shakeups in that rotation, and you just have to hope for the best if you're an Astros fan. But keep in mind that offense is going to provide so many runs, it's going to help make up for any deficiencies you might have in your rotation. And the bullpen is decent. It's not bad, not as good as it was. You lost Will Harris. You still got Osuna closing out games. You still got Joe Smith. You got Ryan Presley. Cy Snead is on the roster right now, and he can also start if needed. A 3rd-round pick from the Brewers a few years ago. Got some nasty stuff, so look for Snead. But overall, not a elite bullpen. Not great, but I think good. When you got a good bullpen, maybe a good rotation, just depending on the injury situation, and you got an awesome lineup, which I feel they do have. Even if you think those guys are not going to be as good as they were because of cheating or whatever, Correa is awesome. He's a great hitter, and he's 7th in the lineup. So at least this particular lineup. So the Astros have offense, okay? Guys like Altuve, they didn't just hit good because they stole signs. I'm sorry, that's how I feel about it, and I think they're going to be good this year. And they have some good prospects coming up through the minor league still. Even on the pitching side, you got guys like Forrest Whitley, one of the higher pitching prospects in baseball, and he strikes out everyone. He did kind of get lit up in AAA last year, but he still struck out a bunch of guys, and he's still working on his stuff. And also Brandon Bielak, who went 11-4 with 119 strikeouts and 121 innings in Double and AAA. Look out for Brandon Bielak. He has got excellent stuff, and this is a really good-looking team despite all of the problems that they're having. They lost 2 draft picks, of course, and they were still able to get a pretty good-looking pitcher with Alex Santos, and he's 6'3", 190-pound high school kid, mid-90s fastball plus spin rate. He's not going to play this year, but I just thought I'd mention that since I'm doing an Astros preview for 2020. That's their biggest draft. That's their highest draft pick. And I think he's got a better shot to make the team and contribute someday because he was their top pick. So even though most of the time 3rd-round picks usually don't make it, but this guy's got a good shot and he looks really good. So I thought the Astros really got a nice pick. And how crazy would it be if one of the Astros picks actually makes it to the big leagues and is a big-time contributor someday. I can't imagine people are going to be real pissed off about that because they were supposed to get punished for losing those 2 picks. But hey, you pick good, you benefit from that. So we'll see how the Astros draft picks do, even though they lost the first 2 rounds of picks. Lost their manager, lost their GM, lost their assistant GM. Even before the controversy, he got fired for another reason, for being a jerk in the locker room to some female reporters. So anyway, the whole thing is nuts with the Astros. It's been a crazy ride. But you know what? Y'all still have a really good looking roster. I'm going to get hate for this video. I'm going to get a bunch of thumbs down for saying anything nice about the Astros. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, this is the one thing about Humm Baby Baseball, whether I'm talking about the Giants or the Astros or anyone else, unbiased, or the Dodgers. If you watch my Dodgers video, I praise the Dodgers. Their roster is amazing. Facts. Sorry, sucks. I'm not happy about it. And I'm not rooting for the Astros to go win a World Series, but I'm just telling you, they have the potential. But I do see the Oakland A's really competing with the Astros for a spot for a first place finish. And as of now, haven't put out my official predictions. As of now, I have the Astros actually coming in just under the A's. I got the A's winning the division, then the Astros, then the Texas Rangers, who I really like their rotation. I think they're going to surprise people and have a very nice year. And then down at the bottom, the Angels, who just don't have the pitching, I think, to really make it happen, despite a very strong lineup. And in 5th place, you got the Seattle Mariners. So that's where I got the AL West at the moment. I had plans to go to a bunch of games. I was going to go to an A's game. I was going to go to a Rangers game and do a review of their new stadium. I was going to go to a Mariners game. I had plans to go to a bunch of American League West games this year. All off, all canceled. But anyway, Houston Astros, I got you guys finishing 2nd place, 1 game below the A's this season, but you do catch on with a wild card. So see you in the playoffs this year, Astros, in that wild card game. It's going to be an interesting wild card game if that happens with the Astros there. So guys, have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for joining me. Let me know what you think of the Houston Astros down below. Love or hate them, they have a lineup that I would not want to face. Have a fantastic day. Subscribe, follow, whatever it's called. Hit the thumbs up button. I'm going to talk to you guys later. See ya!
When the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. Every time the chips are down, it's bye-bye, baby. History's in the making at Oracle Park.